Hello everyone, welcome back to Shang-Chi tutorial. In this chapter we're gonna talk about how to make sparks and let the sparks randomly explode on shield. So let's get started. So first thing first, we're gonna create our folder called GL, name it sparks. And inside our sparks, we're gonna use the object merge to bring our shield inside. So let's go to the rings animated here. It's in the mountain node here, create null here, and call it shield out. Control C to copy it and go inside our sparks and paste it. Yeah, so now the shield is inside and we want generate explosion point on the surface randomly. So we're gonna use a scatter node. Scatter node. Let's turn on the point display here. So you can hover your mouse on the viewport and hit D, and go to the guide here. You can change your point size here. Yeah, and you notice that it generates 1,000 point here. So I want only generate 1, so change the force total count to 1. And let's template our shield now. One thing you'll notice that is there is a global seed there. So every time you change your global seed here, it will move to a random location. So when you move your slider, you can see the point is in a different position. So that's what we want to do. So when the animation plays, we want the global seed to change. Okay? So what we're gonna do is use a expression called $F. This means it's gonna use our frame number. So now it's 1. When we go to the second frame, it's become 2. So it's moving. The point is moving to another position. And now when we add the third frame, it's in another position, and global seed is 3. So $F means our frame number. Okay. But I don't want the point to be at a different position every frame. I want like maybe 6 frame or 8 frame for to generate 1 point. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a switch node here and create a null here and connect both two. So a switch node, you can see it can select the input. So if the input is 0, which is the first input, it's gonna have nothing on the surface. If it's 1, it's gonna have our point here. Okay. So how we gonna control which input the switch node gonna choose? We're gonna use another expression called mode. So you can use $F mode maybe 8 equals 0. Okay, so it means every 8 seconds it will equals 0. So every 8 seconds it will become 1 and choose the first input here. So you can see $F1 mode 8 is 1, so it's not equal to 0, so it's gonna choose the first input here. So once we go to the 8 frame here, frame 8 here, 8 mode 8 equals 0, so it's gonna choose the first input here. So every 8 frame, it's gonna generate point on our sphere. Just for you to understand, so I open a web page here. So there are some example here. So 11 mode 4 equals 3 because 11 divides by 4 twice with 3 remaining. So 4 times 2 equals 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. So yeah, the remainder is 3. So 25 mode 5, so 5 times 5 equals 25, so there's no remainder, so it's 0. Okay, so that's the same we can use here. So $F8 mode 8 equals 0, otherwise it's not 0, so it will generate our point here every 8 seconds. Okay, so we can maybe copy the setup here, and we can change a different value. Let's delete this. So if the random global seed works like this, if the input is the same, like they are both at frame 29, so they can move to a same position. Let's merge these two together. Let's go to frame 8. So now you can see, let's turn on the point number here. There are actually 2 points at the same position because they have the same global seed, so they are moving in the same position. So we can add a little bit so that they are in different position. Okay, so we're gonna use $F plus maybe 10 here, so just so that they have different seed and they are in the different position. Okay, now you can see there are 2 points generated every 8 frame, but I might not want 2 points generated every 8 frames. So in this switch node, I might use $F mode 9 here, so just a little bit different. Now you can see I'm pretty happy with the result here. So now that we have our random generate point all over the timeline, we can generate our explosion geometry and copy that to the point. Okay, so let's create it now here. Click point out. And let's generate our explosion geo. So create a sphere here. Let's view it. Change it to polygon. Increase the frequency. Scale down a little bit. Scale down to 0.04. And copy that to point. Now you can see that the explosion point here, and we can use a mountain node here so that it's more like an explosion. Okay, so we can change the amplitude, element size. Yeah, element size. Something like this. Yeah, I think this is fine. Why I change like this? Because it's gonna provide a different normal. Like the normal is perpendicular to the surface, so rather than the a plane sphere, I'm gonna change it to like this. It's more like a explosion. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a normal node here for you to visualize. Change it to point. Now turn on normal display here. Okay, this is what we're gonna do, the direction we want to emit our particles. So now it's normal vector, it doesn't have velocity, so we're gonna transfer the normal vector to our velocity. So use a attribute wrangle node here, or you can just use a warp here. Both are fine because these are the same one. For warp node, you can just use the normal node and connect to the velocity here. and turn on the velocity display here. For attribute wrangle node, you can just type at b equals at normal, okay, and connect it here. You can see these are the same. Okay, I'm gonna use attribute wrangle here. So call it set b. Turn off the velocity display here. You can see there are some part of the geo are inside of our shield. That's what we don't want. So we're gonna use a boolean to cut this geo out. So create a boolean here. And let's connect our geo and our shield here and visualize this. It takes a little bit time to calculate. Now you can see it's perfectly on the surface of our shield. So now we can cache our explosion geo here, because the boolean operation takes a little bit time. So let's go to the file cache node. The Houdini 19 has a different parameter panel here, but it's basically the same. Change it to explicit here. So now this is the same as before. So change the so this is gonna $heap is gonna find our project path. So mine is at my D drive and FX021 tutorial, and inside there is a geo folder, and the $heap name means our project name. So my project is called Shang-Chi tutorial, so it's gonna call it Shang-Chi, but we don't want to use it. So I'm gonna call it $OS and slash. So what that $OS means is the node name. So we can change it to maybe explosion geo file cache. So he's gonna go to the FX021 tutorial, which is the $heap, and go to the geo folder and use our $OS, which is explosion file cache, create a folder there, and the file we're gonna cache is called explosion geo file cache, and frame 27 is our $F here, and this is our file format. Okay, so I'm gonna cache it. You can click the save to disk here. So let's cache it. So I just cache our model here. Once you finish your cache, you can click the load from disk here. Okay, so you can play this. One thing I noticed that is sometimes you get some bad frames when you do the boolean operation here. So it will have something like this, which we don't want. And it's at frame 18 and frame 32. So frame 18 and frame 32, we don't want that. So we can delete it. So let's use a switch node again. Okay, create a node here. And in the switch node, we're gonna say $F equals 18 or $F equals 32. Okay, so let's view it. So 18, it's 1. 32, it's 1 again. Okay, so we're gonna connect the cache here and connect our node here. So now when you go to the frame 18, it will switch to our second input here, And if we go to our 32, it's connect to our now here. So you can do that to like delete the bad frames in the post. Okay. So now this is our explosion point. We're gonna use this geo to generate our sparks. Okay. So let's go to the first frame and let's create a pop network. So pop network is similar to the dot network, which is actually they are the same. Just the pop network has a preset in it. Okay. Let's dive inside the pop network and organize this a little bit. So in the pop network, it's pretty simple because we already set our velocity. So you can hit play. You can see things like this, which the velocity is too much, so we can turn down our velocity here. Yeah, before we turn down, we can add a gravity node here. And let's play it so that it will fall down. Yeah. We can disable our guide here, so we don't see the blue guide. Okay, let me turn on. Okay. Okay, pretty interesting. And we can maybe lower the particles amount here, maybe 2000. And go to first frame. And add a little bit velocity here, maybe 1.8. 1.5. So you just change the value here to the one you like. Yeah. Okay, I think this is pretty good. You can add a ground plane here. I'm gonna add this ground plane. You can use a merge node here and add a ground plane. Now it's set to left affect the right, so we want to switch this. So we want ground plane affect the pop solver here. So now let's go back. You can see the particles bounce on the ground. We can disable the display of the geo here, and you can go to the physical tab here, set the bounce to maybe 0.02. Set also the bounce in the pop up object here, 0.02, and let's play it. Okay, it's slide too much, so change the friction here to 4 maybe, and 4 here, and play again. Okay, let's maybe increase the bounce. Okay, 0.7. Okay, too much. 0.1, 0.1. 0.35 here. Sorry, I'm just testing my values. Yeah. Okay, I think this is good. Let's jump outside of our dot network and create our trails. So now you can see we got our ground plane in the viewport, but inside we already turn off the display of the ground plane. So because for the pop network, the object at export this means export all the object inside pop network. So you want to change to the pop, so only export the particles. So now you can see the ground plane disappears. So yeah, we're gonna use our old friend. So use an add node here and a trail node here. So let's connect these two. I'm not gonna explain how you, oh, sorry. Trail node first and then add. So for trail node, it will create trails. So I already talked about it in the last chapter, so I'm not gonna talk it again. So for polygon, you use the by group and change to by attribute. Use the ID attribute here. Now you can see our sparks. Okay. Now the spark doesn't have color, so you can go inside the pop network here. You can use pop color here. So you can either use the constant, so the color will be purple for all the time, or you can use ramp. Or you can use ramp here. The ramp here is the color is depend on your age. So when the particle just born, it's gonna be black and then slowly turn white. Okay, but the pop color, the downside of the pop color is it's inside the dot network. Every time you want a color different, you want a different color, you need to resimulate this. So we can create this in sub level. Let's go to the sub level here. Create attribute VOP here. Okay, create color. Connect it here. So let's dive inside. For each particles, we got our age attribute and our life attribute. Okay, so we can divide these two. Age divided by life. So life is how long the particle gonna live. Maybe this particle gonna live 3 seconds, and the age of it is maybe now it's 24 frames. So maybe the age is 1 now. So it's 1 divided by 3. Okay, and then when he reached the end of his life, which the age is 3 and life is 3, so it's 3 divided by 3. It's become 1. So now it's a 0 to 1 value, so we can feed that into a ramp. Let's turn off this. Connect it here and connect to CD here. So call it color. Okay, let's go back outside. Now you can't see particles because it's set to black. Now let's change the random color here. Red, maybe just for you to visualize, change it to green here. So now let's go back. Now you can see the particles start with red and then slowly transition to green. Let me change the value here. Okay. The reason why it's not transitioning to green here is because we forgot to set our life of our particle here. It's gonna live for life expectancy, gonna live for 100 seconds. So we can change it to maybe 0.6. Variance here 0.2. Now let's go back out here. Now you can see it starts with red color and then slowly transitioning into the green. Okay, so you can create a color you like for your sparks. So I'm gonna stop the recording here and tweak the value. So I just color my sparks to this color, which is bluish, orangish color. And yeah, it looks so cool. And one thing I want to mention is that in Houdini 19, they released a node called Spark Trail node. So for the Spark Trail, you can create your pop network directly to the timeline node here and visualize your Spark Trail. Okay, they have basically these two are very similar, but they have more control on the Spark Trail. You can change the alpha here. Also, you can change the alpha along the length. And you can change the color intensity here as well. Split, shape, everything. So if you are using Houdini 19, you can try this node out. Or if you are using any version before, you can still using my version, the trail node, add node, and color node. Okay. And one thing I noticed that is I forgot to add our collision geo. So we wanted the particle collide on our shield. Now it's penetrates through it. So let's create our collider for our shield. And for that we're gonna use collision source. So it will have two output. One is our geo collision. Okay, it's our geo there, and another one is our SDF or VDB collision for Houdini to calculate inside DOP network. So let's call it VDB collision. And now when you visualize this, let's turn off the purple flag on this one. You see nothing. It's because VDB doesn't like a geometry that has a hole here. So let's polyfill it. Polyfill and change it to single polygon. Okay. And now you go to the VDB here, you can see it's the VDB collision. We can go to the volume here, give it more resolution, so 0.04 maybe 2. Okay, I think that's enough. And now copy the geo collision here, and let's go inside of our pop network. And for collision, we can create a static object here. And for the subpath here is our geo collision. And go outside, let's copy our VDB collision here and dive inside pop network. For our VDB collision, let's go to the collision tab here, change it to reinsect to volume sample because we're gonna use our VDB. So for the proxy volume here, we're gonna use our VDB volume. Okay, now let's merge our ground plane and our static object here. And now let's play. Now you can see the particles not penetrate through our shield. Okay, let's go back out and see. Okay, let's turn off the, yeah. Now it's looks pretty good here. So that's it for today. If you like the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button, and see you in next chapter. Bye bye.